Hello, Artemir the Violet Wizard here, and today we are continuing Pokémon Emerald. Yeah, things kind of cut off in an awkward spot last time, but we're back and continuing to finish up the Hoenn region here over by Pacific Town, because still quite a few trainers I wanted to take down, a few more areas I wanted to see before we actually move on and head off to what's going to be one of the final areas of the game. Yeah, with how the session goes, provided we don't have any more of those connection hiccups, hopefully we should be able to finish up a good chunk of what I had planned last time. Well, last time I mainly just wanted to show off the stuff on this route before it could get set up for eventually going to this one place that is very important, as we shall see. But yeah, things on our main Pokemon adventure are steadily dying down at this point. There's still quite a bit of content we still have to do in the game, but it'll be interesting just to kind of see what's in store going forward and all that. I don't really know what I'm trying to say here. So yeah, going back to some of the things I said before, this route is very awkward to navigate because you have this current that is constantly pushing you forward. You cannot fight the current at all, so all you can do is go forward and see where you end up here. And because of that, it can take multiple attempts in order to just get everything in this area. It can be a little annoying, especially for one specific thing that you can only get, like, right at the end of these pathways, but it's not really something we're going to be able to do until much later, because I still haven't got the specific thing that I need to get it. But hopefully very soon, like I want to say after the stream session, I think it would be a good time to kind of hunt for the last thing that I need in order to get that, so that we can actually progress with one of the major side quests involved with this game. Because yeah, at this point our team is more than prepared for what we're gonna face at the end of that whole thing. But for now, let's just focus on clearing out the rest of this route. It is an interesting area, all things considered, because you don't really see these ocean currents in a lot of places in this game. It's one of the few areas you actually run into something like this. And it's kind of neat that it is impacting the progression for this area by so much. This fisherman here is really nothing special. Just more of the same things we've been encountering all throughout this journey. Gyarados. Alright, let's go for Alexa for that. We're gonna be here a while because this guy's got a team of 6. So while going through this, what's some stuff to talk about in today's session? Well, kind of a nice treat for myself. So earlier today after lunch, I went to my local Walmart and picked up a couple movies that I plan to be watching sometime in the near future. So I grabbed The Secret of Nim 1 and 2, not really grabbing the second one by choice, it's a collection of both of them, and I also grabbed Beetlejuice. So yeah, those are definitely some movies that I'm planning to watch sometime in the future, because oh man, they got some good stuff. Secret of Nim is like one of my favorite animated movies of all time, and it's definitely going to be great to revisit it because it's just so amazing. And Beetlejuice is fairly interesting for me because I have not actually seen the full movie front to back. I have seen clips of it. I am a huge fan of the stage musical, but I haven't actually seen the full movie, so it's going to be very interesting to get to revisit it after all this time. Aside from that, I've also been keeping up with a lot of my usual content creators. Something that was really great to see was... so there was this video done by Shafrillis where he was talking about his experiences with The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask and why he thinks it's like the greatest thing he's ever experienced, and I can relate so hard to him on those thoughts. Because it's definitely an amazing game and something that I'm really interested in getting to stream someday. I think it would be really fun. But that's a story for another time. Maybe sometime next year. I mean, I have plans for what I'm going to be doing and for like the next year's worth of content, because definitely quite a things I want to revisit. We still have the... No, failed to trigger that battle there. Oh, poor guy, doesn't have his wife. But yeah, I definitely have quite a few plans for the future, because we need to go back to Final Fantasy VII in order to do the second disc, which should be very fun. There's still a lot of plot to do in that game, and of course just a lot of exciting battles and things. See, I know we kind of left things on a specifically dire moment in that stream session, but I really wanted to end my playthrough of it for this year at the end of Disc 1, and that's just the moment that they pick for that particular chunk of the game to end on. So yeah, I know things were left on a very serious note, but that's just the way things are. And something else I want to revisit is going back into the Shantae games, because I tried to do a session of Shantae and the Pirate's Curse sometime last year, I want to say, and it did not go over well. Just the connection issues I was having on like the first stream session I recorded was just such a damper on my spirits, and I did play more of the game after that failed recording, so I'm definitely a lot more confident about going into the game now that I know a bit more about it. But still just one of those very demotivating things that I definitely want to get back to now that my connection is, for the most part, stable. And we should have a good time with it. Like, the Shantae games are something I've really been wanting to get into as of late, especially because the latest game actually came out this year, I believe, and from what I hear, it's good. To say nothing of all the interesting new female characters they introduced in the new game, because, oh boy, there's a lot of good designs in there. So yeah, definitely a lot of stuff to talk about when we eventually get back into those games. I suppose I could partner with that old man and challenge that other team. I don't know, do you really want to be with him? Hang on. Okay, that was weird. I'm hoping connection stays stable tonight, because there is a lot I want to do. See here, there's this little patch of just normal water here. Yeah, because it's currently locked in this little islet, so you don't have to worry about the current here. But if I want to time this right, yeah, we can get a double battle here. I'm always with my husband, but I can win even without him. Someone's been watching me intently. Was it you? So yeah, this is kind of a funny little scenario. You got these two expert trainers and these two cool trainers who are teaming up. It's a fun little idea. What are we going to do with you? Roselia shouldn't give us too much trouble. It shouldn't have anything that could really hurt Harlequin here. So I think I'll go... Actually, I think I'll go Feint Attack and then ult on the Kecleon. That should be good. Alright, Kecleon goes down, so what's coming up next? Alright, Loudred. That's pretty fine. Not really the most intimidating thing out there. Especially with the way Arlequin's fighting. Yeah, it's just kind of a thing. So Cacturne obviously doesn't really have the greatest moveset this generation. A lot of its moves are kind of low power, but she's still been hanging in there pretty well because her offensive stats are just so good. So yeah, she's been able to handle that very nice Cotton Spore. That is a very seldom used attack, mostly known by grass types. So when you use that, it will sharply lower the speed of the target. Besides that, I don't really see much use for giving it to Arlequin. So Medicham could actually give us a bit of trouble. Spain attack, and then Thunderbolt. Ooh, very nice work, Alexa.
Oh, I guess I wasn't good enough.
Well, it's pretty strong, alright.
Thank you.
I try. I can't shake this feeling someone's watching me. I can't concentrate.
That young man over there looks just like my husband when he was young. He's making me blush.
Whoa, careful, lady. You want to be careful with that kind of thing. Sari picked up a very nice protein. Might be a good idea to store some of these items away. Alright, Armstrong can't use that. A jerk. Ah, there we go. He hasn't maxed out his attack EVs, it seems. Alright, now from here... I want to take this path. Oh, that pushed me up here. Is that good? I know there's that area down there we missed. No, I think this is good. Okay, good. I had the item finder set. Just want to make sure before going through here. That is an interesting philosophy, sir. It's kind of my whole deal whenever I'm playing the Pokemon games. Don't really care about, like, the nitty-gritty about what other people focus for their teams. I just kind of play my own style. And it works out for the most part. Definitely had some interesting team compositions in some of the more recent games. Especially with how I handle certain things. This guy, let's go with Shanty. Haven't seen Ludicolo in a while. At least in this game, because I actually did fight a Ludicolo in another game very recently today. Which I think is just a nice time as any to segue into this, especially because we're rapidly running out of things to discuss during today's session. Nice try, buddy. Way more fun to do things the way I want than to be like everybody else. I mean, that's obvious. Exactly. Just why do what everyone else is doing when you could actually do something that you want? Alright, now, want to plan our route carefully here. Yeah, I think let's go take this path. Down here, now this is interesting if you want to go for a specific thing that is very important. I want to take this path. Okay, so just for the future, you see that dark patch over there? That is a dive point, and it's important for something that we cannot currently do, but eventually we'll want to come back here, because there's something very good we can get there. And with that out of the way, let us actually get into something that I wanted to talk about. Okay. So, very recently, in the last couple of days, the second DLC pack for Sword and Shield was actually released, which is the Crown Tundra, and I have been definitely getting a lot out of it, let me tell you. The Savage type in this area serves to make us stronger than ever.
Can your Pokemon dodge or lightning quick attacks?
So this should be interesting, because looks like we got a Dragon Tamer and a Cool Trainer here. Alright, so yeah. It's one of the few trainers actually uses a Bagon, actually. So, anyway. As I was saying, I've been playing a lot of the Crown Tundra, and I know people still have their issues with Sword and Shield, but for me, I just really like this DLC pack. Getting to explore this wide open area is like very cool. Of course, you got a bunch of returning Pokemon, and a lot of focus is on the legendaries this time, because they bring in like almost all the legendaries in the series. Of course, some of the mythicals aren't back in, but it's pretty cool seeing a lot of these old familiar faces again. And really like the bits of story additions that they put into this DLC pack. Like the whole story with Calyrex and how you're helping this Pokemon reunite with this legendary horse Pokemon that it used to ride as a mount was very cool. I felt overall that story was very nice in getting to interact with a legendary Pokemon in this way and actually help it out. That was a very cool idea. Really hadn't seen that done in other games, and it's an interesting take on what they have with the usual fusion legendary mechanics. So overall, that was very good. I really like that. And of course, there was a quest where you had to capture... Well, I don't want to go too much into this because it actually relates to something in this game. But let's just say that there's a certain set of Pokemon that recently obtained a new set of additions. And they're all tied together very nicely. And they're all pretty darn good. And all have some very interesting things I would probably like to talk about at a later time, but definitely not now. And for those of you that grew up with the original generation games, will probably really like one of the new additions they made. So the legendary birds from the Generation 1 games have received regional variants that are significantly different from how they originally are. Like things from their typings to their stat spreads have completely changed, and it's definitely really interesting seeing what they've done with these classic Pokemon and making them so much more unique. Like, frickin' Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres have got these new stellar designs that just oozing with personality, and just the process of getting to them is very cool. How it's kind of like the roaming Pokemon mechanic from a lot of the older generations, but with an interesting twist in that they don't run away when you actually encounter them. So you can try and fight them, try to catch them, and even if you make them faint, you still have the opportunity to catch them again, so it's all good. So yep, I felt that was very well done in getting to see some more of these legendary Pokemon and seeing what they were able to accomplish with giving them these brand new strategies, and it's all very good. I like the new designs. I feel like they're gonna play very nicely, depending on how I decide to build my teams in the future. And something that I was definitely excited for when I figured out was a thing is there's also a certain quest line in the DLC that's relating to some legendary Pokemon from the 5th generation of Pokemon games, which for me was great because I love the 5th generation. It's easily one of my favorite set of games in the entire series. So actually getting to see, like, well, I know one of the terms for these guys is the Swords of Justice. You got these free legendary Pokemon, Cobalion, Terrakion, and Virizion. But they also have a unofficial 4th member of their troop. Who is kind of like a Pokemon that these guys raised in their fighting style in order to be a hero like them. And of course, this Pokemon was for many generations an event-only Pokemon that you could only obtain through a very limited time, and then was pretty much relegated to like only being given away for free during certain events. And yeah, it's kind of obnoxious at times, but oh man, was I surprised to find out that they actually brought this mythical Pokemon back and actually made it catchable at the end of this quest line, where when you catch the Swords of Justice, bring them to a certain spot and then trigger a certain thing, which I'm not really going to go too much into here, but it like ties into another mechanic that is a staple of Sword and Shield, and just actually getting to encounter this Pokemon in the wild and getting to catch it for yourself is so satisfying, especially after finishing this quest. It was so good. So I took care of those two very nicely. So I think we're just about finished with this area, at least what I want to show off. Get a max revive there, which is fairly good. There's only a limited number of max revives you can actually find in the game, so definitely good to pick that up. So over here, surf over this way. Alright, that puts us back here. So let's take this. Alright, yeah, and that puts you here in the diving spot. We will eventually be checking this out, but for the time being, we're just gonna leave it. Alright, I think these are gonna be the last trainers we fight here before we actually continue on. Okie dokie, that's enough rest, gang. It's time for a match. Our boat! The tide carried it away! Wow, sucks to be you, dude. It's got a bird keeper and a sailor. Alex and Kelvin. It's really not much. This really isn't that bad of a battle. All things considered, we should be very good here, although... yeah, let's actually switch Armstrong out, because he's not going to be good here. Not when there's a Machoke on the field. I'm fine with Jerk, he can easily handle a Noctu. So, yeah, overall, I have very high opinions about the Crown Tundra. I know people have their issues with the 8th generation. I recognize and understand those concerns, but for me personally, I just really enjoy the games and what they were able to bring into the series. Especially with a lot of the quality of life additions that they made. And getting to see these DLC packs which helped expand the story and add all these new features. Speaking of which, there was actually a very cool thing that like capped off like the whole overall story of Sword and Shield. Where specifically like a post-champion event that specifically came alongside the Crown Tundra, where you have this sort of tournament where you actually get to fight alongside a lot of the gym leaders and other important characters that you met throughout your adventure there in the Galar region, as well as the Isle of Armor in Crown Tundra, and that's very awesome. It's really like getting to interact again with all these characters that I grew to like during the adventure. Overall, very fun way to cap off the adventure in the Galar region. Of course, I'm still not done with the games, because I still have to finish up my Crown Tundra decks. There's only 2 Pokemon that I still need to catch, and unfortunately to get them, I'm going to need to use another save file in order to obtain these things. Let me get a star piece there, very nice. But it shouldn't be too bad. I actually have another Shield save file that's actually completed, so I'll be able to actually access the DLC pack again and be able to get the specific things I need to get to finish the decks. So that's all good. Shouldn't take very much time. Another thing for the DLC pack that I really like is that they included this thing called Dynamax Adventures, which you and 4 other players can team up in order to use rental Pokemon in order to defeat set battles, at the end of which you get to fight one legendary Pokemon from just this massive pool of legendary Pokemon throughout the entire series, and it's very cool, just getting to do this. Because, as we saw earlier in this adventure, like back in Slateport City, getting to use rental teams is very interesting, because more often than not, you get to see a lot of unique strategies with these rental Pokemon that you wouldn't normally get to see just playing the main adventure with the way that most people build their teams. So it's a very cool way of actually getting to see new sides of these Pokemon, maybe getting to use some experience with a Pokemon that you wouldn't normally use and suddenly realize, hey, this thing's actually pretty cool, I might use this. So yeah, that's very good, especially like when you're able to link up with friends like I tend to do. There's some people on the Maryland Discord server that I link up with so that we can take on these Dynamax Adventures and try to get these legendary Pokemon together. It's all really fun. I've really been enjoying doing that this last couple days. When I'm not at work, obviously, because there's still a lot of that I've been doing lately, and it doesn't seem like my schedule is lightening up anytime soon. But that's a discussion for another day. Very thankful I still have the opportunity to work. But yeah, another cool thing about Dynamax Adventures is that the Pokemon that you encounter there have a much higher chance of being shiny, which of course is a very coveted thing throughout these different games. Unfortunately, I haven't run into any new shinies during doing those adventures. Some of my friends have, and I am so jealous of them for that. But yeah, I'll eventually get something very good. And it should all be very nice. So back here on Route 128, there is a section of this route that we have not gone to yet, mainly because, well, it was an area that we were eventually going to get to, because we need to progress this way in order to finish up our story in the Hoenn region. If we could just not deal with you, Tentacool. So back over this way, to the east, should be some people that we have not faced yet. Actually, I just realized there is something I'm gonna need to do. Alright, for the time being, I'm just gonna get over there and show you what needs to be done, and then we are gonna take care of a certain technical thing going forward. The sunlight seems to be more harsh in this area. You're looking awfully tough. I wonder if I can win. Lady, I don't know what you're talking about. We already dealt with Groudon. For now. So Carly and Harrison were fighting my Swampert from my Emerald Nuzlocke? Okay. Nice. For you, let's switch Shanty in for Jerk so that we can take advantage of getting to use an Earthquake and not having it hit my partner. I love this strategy. It just works so nicely together. Yep, that's just brilliant. Another reason why I really love the double battle format, you get to pull really cool strategies like this. Especially good because so many of the very strong attacks that you would usually see in competitive are really dang useful in double battles. Like I said before, Earthquake is one of the strongest moves in the game, and getting to use it in double battles where it hits 2 of your opponent's Pokemon on the same turn, that is really good. And these guys are just no problem. Okay, good for you. But over here is a place that we have long been... what am I saying here? So this is an area that we have heard about quite a few times on our journey. Evergrande City is the final stop for our main adventure here in Emerald. Good work there, Armstrong. Very happy you got that. Level up. Yeah. And of course, we got a giant waterfall keeping us from moving forward. Yeah, just because you arrived in this area doesn't mean that you actually get to fly there. You have to specifically access the Pokemon Center. That'll be up ahead. So for now, we gotta put one of our Pokemon away so that we can have access to Waterfall. And of course, we got Endive here to help with that. I probably could have grabbed another water Pokemon and given it, like, an appropriate name specifically for waterfalls, but I don't know, I just don't want to do that. Endive is more than helpful for this part of the journey. And kind of spoilers, but Shanty's probably going to stay in the box for a little while, because this next area we're going to has a lot of HM moves that we actually need in order to get through it. So, yeah. And one of those moves we actually need to use ahead is Waterfall, so... yeah, it's just kind of the way things are back in these older games, when we actually had to worry about sticking these weak and not at all useful moves on our Pokemon's movesets just to progress through the main story. People say the modern games are bad, just come on. I mean, it wasn't so bad when back in Gen 1 there was only 5 HMs that you had to worry about. But in this game, they put 8 HMs on you, and yeah, having to use them all can be a little tiresome, I have to admit. Yeah, I definitely do not miss the HMs in the future games, because having to use 8 of these things just to progress the main story and possibly sacrificing a moveset space on your Pokemon just to be able to use these moves in very situational moments gets tiresome. Just take this thing out here. Stop using Protect. I don't need that. I really do not care for that, buddy. Alright, at least Jerk was able to get another level up. should almost be back at Evergrande. And we're finally climbing up this massive waterfall. I like that it's actually very wide compared to other waterfalls you see. Welcome to Evergrande City. It's just a lone Pokemon Center. Why do they call this place Evergrande City?
Pokemon League's only a short distance after the Victory Road. If you come this far, what choice do you have but to keep going?
The long and harrowing Victory Road. It's like reliving the path one has traveled in life. Believe in your Pokemon and give it your best. Haley, you've clawed your way up to face the Pokémon League. I'm happy for you. You made my cheering worthwhile. Haley, if you were to become the Pokémon League champion, I'll get in touch with you then. Okay, Haley, go for greatness.
See, even Scott's got her back.
That's really nice. It's going forward.
Alright.
Want to heal up our team just a little bit before we go forward. Because we got ourselves quite the trial ahead of us. And yeah, this will be a good final challenge for this stream session. Actually, before we go any farther, what I need to do is deposit some items, because my inventory could definitely use some more space. Not this one. Put those star pieces away. Rare candy. Nuggets. I'll get the repels. Those will be good. So yeah, before going any farther, I recommend having Pokemon with the HMs for Strength, Rock Smash, Surf, Flash, and Waterfall. If you have all those HMs on your Pokemon, you should be good. As you can see here, we got Flash on Alexa, Strength on Armstrong, and Endive has Rock Smash, Waterfall, and Surf. Yeah, they require a lot of you to get through this area. Victory Road. I just want a moment to take in this music. This is the first time in the series they had unique music for Victory Road. And it's great. I love this song so much. They even did a remix of it in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and that is just such a great remix. Easily one of my favorite songs in all of Pokemon. So yeah, the Hoenn Victory Road. If you're familiar with the Victory Roads from the previous games, then this should be fairly familiar to you. We got a long cave full of trainers for us to battle, and lots of strong Pokemon too. Some Pokemon here could actually be pretty helpful if you're looking for a final team member, because you can definitely find a lot of Pokemon here that you wouldn't normally be able to see in other areas. And most of the stuff here is around level 40, so they really won't have a lot. It's not going to take a long time to get them caught up, especially if you've been saving up a lot of people to fight on the match card. Yeah, this area will be interesting to go through for a team. I might have to make a few trips back out here just to make sure that my Pokemon have a sufficient number of power points to get through. Because the first floor here definitely has quite a bit to it, and it might be a good idea just to clear the first floor of all its trainers, as grab the items we can, and then retreat in order to stock up on items. I'm healing again. And before tackling on the other floors. It's kind of what I like to do here. Maybe we can heal up Beetle. And of course, because it's a cave, definitely bring a lot of healing items here. There's a lot of Pokemon you can face here. if you don't want to fight wild Pokemon here, definitely use your repels. They can be really good here. So Albert here's got Magneton, one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. So what about this guy? Yeah, let's go for Armstrong. Magneton, of course, being the evolution of Magnemite and just overall a very solid Pokemon. Fantastic typing that gives it so many resistances, and it's so powerful when using its stab attacks. Like, an electric move from this thing will deal a ton of damage to whatever it's facing. It's so good. Definitely want to keep him away from ground, but besides that, it's just great. Muck is the final form of Grimer. This thing is pretty tanky, and with addition to Mini-Mize, this thing can be kind of tricky to take out, because, yeah, it can boost its evasiveness, and with it being a pretty defensive Pokemon, this thing can be a pain to deal with. It's relatively strong offensively. It mainly wants to set up with Mini-Mize to make it harder to hit, and then try to use a move like Toxic in order to poison the opponent to just kind of whittle them down without taking a whole lot of hits. But yeah, this thing isn't too bad. Also, a heads up here, because you'll be facing a lot of cool trainers in this area, and they tend to pack healing items. So yeah, this place is just built to wear you down. Definitely expect some tough battles here, because they're pulling no punches. Come on, Armstrong. There we go. Managed to push through Muck's evasiveness and finish it. Impossible. I lost. Nice try, Wesker. I lost here. That means I lack the qualifications to become the champion. Indeed. Let's see. I don't really have any berries that can heal that, so... Alright, we have full heal. Let's use it. Again, I'll probably want to heal up after I'm done clearing this floor. So we've got a lot of fights ahead of us, and I don't want to waste too many of our resources and our power points. Beetlejuice should be able to handle this easily. It's not really the best when it comes to using special attacks, but he's been holding his own. And of course, with the Shell Bell there helping his power is very much appreciated. That is looking nice. Yes, we haven't seen this guy in a while, Laron. Obviously, at this point, we should know what this thing is about. High attack and especially high defense, rock steel type. If we didn't pick up an Aron much earlier in the game, I could definitely recommend picking up Laron here. One thing I will say about trying to catch a Laron is that these things at this level can know Roar, which, when used in a wild battle, automatically end the fight. So you will have to be very careful about trying to catch these guys. They can be tricky to deal with. Could also run into Makuhita here. We haven't really seen these guys in the wild for quite some time now. But yeah, you could catch a Makuhita for your team here, but there's something else that we can get here that is much more worth your time. I don't know why I'm being coy about it right now. But yeah, you can get at Makuhita's evolution Hariyama in this cave. So definitely go for that. It's a good Pokemon. So over on this side, speak of the devil and eat off a peer, Hariyama. Pure fighting type, very high HP and physical attack. If you haven't gotten one before, definitely pick it up here. It's a very solid attacker. And could be useful in a few of the fights going forward. There's at least 2 battles in the very late portion of this adventure that could be very good with using Hariyama. So yeah, I can definitely recommend it. It's a good Pokemon for the fights ahead. And I guess while Hariyama's on screen here, I'd also like to say if you're playing Ruby, Sapphire, and the remakes, you can also run into Meditite and Medicham in the wild here. If you're playing Emerald, however, you cannot catch either of those Pokemon, so you're SOL on that. It's kind of a shame because Fighting and Psychic is a very unique typing at this point in the series. Oh. You saw nothing.
Oh, hey, buddy.
So you're also capable of running into Wild Loudred here. Think about my options here, okay. So Loudred's fairly interesting here. Of course, the evolution of Whismur, pure normal type. Something that's pretty cool is that we could only catch Whismur very early on in the adventure, so we didn't have a whole lot of opportunities to get one at a higher level. Loudred here, you not only get a very good level, but it's pretty much capable of evolving right away when you catch it here. So I can definitely recommend picking it up. It's Evolution Explow, which I don't think we've actually gone over yet. But if you're doing a lot of the Gabby and Tyree matches, you will encounter Loudred's evolution on their moveset. And yeah, Exploud is a pretty solid normal type, all things considered. I much prefer using Slacking as my normal type in this game, but Exploud definitely has its uses. It has overall good stats and also can learn a lot of good moves, especially Overheat, so it can be a very handy Pokemon for your team right now. It can definitely be useful for some of the fights ahead. Really didn't want you taking an air cutter there. It's a lot of health taken. Yeah, the Golbat here are definitely going to be a bit annoying. They do much more damage than Zubats. You're likely to not one-hit KO them because they're a little tanky. And yeah, they can also just be a real irritant. I guess another thing I can mention about this section of the Victory Road is that this is both the first and the last floor of this cavern. The exit to this place is actually very close by, but we're not going to be able to reach it for quite some time. So, yeah, there's that we have to worry about. Man, Beetlejuice should definitely see a lot of use against these fighting types going forward. Really don't want to deal with you, Golbat. Come on. Yeah, it's kind of a shame Harlequin doesn't really have anything that's good for dealing with these things. I really did not want to see that. Yeah, let's just run. I don't want to deal with confusion right now.
Oh, hello there, Whismur.
Yeah, you can run into these things as well. Wouldn't really recommend catching them. Because obviously you can run into Loudred here. And it's much, much easier to raise up a Loudred than a Whismur. Although the Whismur are capable of evolving into Loudred in just one level up, so there is that. Hello there, Loudred. I was just speaking of you. Yeah, that's another thing I don't like about this place. So many Pokemon are able to confuse you here. Between the Loudreds and the Golbats, just annoying. So, if you're playing Ruby, Sapphire, or the remakes, you don't have to worry anything over here. But if you're playing Emerald, prepare yourself for a fight.
Hi, Haley. I bet you're surprised to see me here. I made it all the way here, and it's all thanks to you. Haley, losing to you that time made me stronger, but I'm not gonna lose anymore. I'm gonna win for the Pokemon who gave me courage and strength. Okay, here I come.
For the first time since Mauville City, we're finally fighting Wally again. And he is significantly stronger than he was last time we fought him. He's leading off with Altaria, which is actually kind of bad for me because I put my Altaria counter back in the box. Okay, I realized now there was no need for an HM Slave on this floor, so I could have left Endive in the box until after this fight. But I didn't realize that until now. Well, this is gonna be fun. I guess for turn 1 here, let's set up with Spikes on Harlequin. Actually get to show off this move. So actually able to set up an entry hazard on the opponent side of the field. And what's nice about Spikes is that you can actually stack it in order to cause more damage for the next Pokemon that enters the battle. Let's do one more round of this, and then we'll probably want to switch. Yeah, that Altaria is getting stronger with that Dragon Dance. One of the best stat buffing moves in the game, as it raises both attack and speed. It's part of the reason why Winona is such a difficult battle if you don't teach one of your Pokemon Ice Speed. Yeah, like that, I was able to do that much damage to Election. But we paralyzed it. Well, that's one way to get around Safeguard. Alright, should be able to handle this thing with a few Thunderbolts. Altaria, of course, is Dragon Flying, so you'll definitely want to use Ice against this thing. If you have Bagon's Evolution at this point, it could also deal some good damage to Altaria. Among another dragon type that we actually haven't seen yet, so I'm not going to talk about it. Wally's next Pokemon will be Delcatty. Let's switch over to Jerk to deal with that. Alright, let's see how much damage Spikes does. Yeah, by setting up those layers of Spikes, we did some pretty decent damage to his Pokemon. Delcatty, of course, is a normal type. And it has that, which is not going to be all that useful because Jerk's just going to kick it in the face again, and that thing should really not give you much of a fight. And of course he's going to send out his Ace immediately. Alright, so this should be fun. Beetlejuice, I'm counting on you. So Wally's Ace in the Generation 3 games is Gardevoir, pure Psychic type in this generation. If you're playing the remakes, he will instead be using Gallade, which is Waltz's Psychic Fighting evolution. This thing is one of the best special attackers in the game. Gardevoir has very good special attack and also good special defense. And so this thing can also take hits fairly well. It's definitely worth it if you're able to encounter a Waltz back on Route 102, was it? Yeah, Route 102. If you're able to get it, it can be a very formidable Pokemon. Easily one of the best in this generation. But we handled that pretty well, so we'll just take out this Roselia here. Unfortunately, even in the remakes, he doesn't fully evolve into Roserade, which is sad. But yeah, just your standard grass poison type, not too bad. And finally, we got Magneton. Of course, Wally using more of some of my favorite Pokemon here. I mean, between Altaria, Magneton, and Gardevoir, Wally actually has a pretty decent team here. It's just a shame he's not a little bit more formidable. Especially at this point when we had to deal with Hoenn, who was significantly stronger than anything we saw on Wally's team here. Wow, Haley, you're strong after all. I couldn't beat you today, Haley, but one of these days, I'll catch up to you. I don't believe he's kidding. You can actually rematch him, but only in post-game, so it's gonna be a while before we do that. But yeah, with that, we took down Wally once more. If you haven't played the remakes, I highly recommend it because I really like what they do with Wally's character there compared to this game. There's really not a whole lot of focus on Wally in the third generation. He's mainly just kind of there. But man, in the remakes, they do a lot more by having more scenes of Wally, showing him being a lot more confident throughout the adventure, and I really feel for him, and getting to see him actually develop is very cool. And of course he used a Gallade, which is frickin' awesome, so yeah, definitely a good reason to play the remakes. The seemingly infinite and harsh road lives up to its name of victory. Indeed. Cool Trainer Hope. She's got a Roselia. Nothing we haven't seen already. I mean, we did just fight one of these things. Of course, expect to see some status moves from this thing going forward, as you usually do. I'm not really too familiar on what grass moves it would have at this point that you should really watch out for. It does get Magical Leaf, which does decent damage. It can also never miss, so it's definitely an interesting move to see at this point. Oh, wasn't too bad. Harlequin was able to take it out very well. And this is why I recommended having Flash. This floor of the dungeon is very dark. You do not want to fumble down here with limited vision. And this is why I recommended having Strength. Seriously, they gatekeep you with all these HMs that you needed to use in order to progress the story anyway, so what's even the point? There's a lot of branching paths on this floor, so you definitely want to sweep this area clean before going forward. And yes, I'm perfectly fine gaining experience from the wild Pokemon. Maybe not from some of the more lower level Pokemon, because they don't tend to give good experience. And this is why I recommend Rock Smash. Luckily we have Endive here, so I don't need to put Rock Smash on any of my main Pokemon. But yeah, it's just kind of annoying that we have to go through all this. Also want to be careful not to push the boulders in the wrong place, which would block your progress. You can easily reset the blocks just by leaving the floor and coming back, so it's not too much to worry about. It's just tedious to do. Yeah, as much as I love the music in this Victory Road, it's really not all that interesting visually. Like, this area is just your standard cave area. There's not really any unique set pieces to it. Cool trainer Shannon here. A Claydol. That's actually very formidable, as we saw back in our Moss Deep City gym battle. Let's go to Harlequin for this. Something I will say about Victory Road, if you're playing the remakes, there is a very significant change to the things you see here in the Victory Road if you're playing the remakes. Because in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, after a certain point before taking on the final gym leader, you'll actually gain access to the ability to capture Pokemon that don't normally appear in the Hoenn region in those games. And the game actually reflects that with the design of Victory Road. Note so that many of the trainers you fight here will use Pokemon that appear in later generations, and that weren't normally from the Hoenn games. So that is a very cool addition they do in the remake, and it definitely mixes things up, because I wouldn't normally expect to see those kinds of Pokemon in this adventure. I figured it'd mostly be like one-to-one like the originals, but no, they really shake things up and made the Victory Road a lot more interesting there. And of course, the presentation with the Wally battle is so much better in the remakes. Like, it's treated more like an actual event. You fight him in a very unique area with its own set location in the path, like, close to the end of Victory Road. Oh, okay, I actually forgot you can encounter this thing here. Mawile! Steel type in the 3rd generation. By 6th generation, it gains the Steel Fairy typing. I actually forgot that you could encounter Mawile in Emerald. Really goes to show how little I've used this thing until the 6th generation. Because, yeah, for the longest time, Mawile was not really the best Steel type. But come 6th generation, not only did it gain the Fairy typing, making it so much more useful as a Pokemon, but apart from that, they also gave it a Mega Evolution that makes it significantly more powerful than it was back in the day. And it's easily one of my favorite Pokemon. I love Mega Mawile so much. And if you're playing Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I could definitely recommend picking up Mawile, because it is just such a good battle. So I'm back on the 1st floor of Victory Road here to grab this PP up. And looks like there's one more hidden item over here. Walk over to this end, we pick up an Ultra Ball. That could be good if you're looking to catch things here. There's really not anything I'm looking to catch right now, unless there's a certain quality about this Pokemon that you seldom see in a normal playthrough that would be very nice to encounter at this point. But yeah, I'm mainly saving my Pokeballs for some stuff that will be happening much later on in the adventure, when we're actually dealing with some of the more significant challenges. Although, before you actually take on the Pokémon League, there is one thing that I am planning on doing, which I think would be a nice way to, like, basically not, like, have me take out the final bosses of the main story in, like, the first 20 minutes of the stream, and then just kind of faffing about. I thought I'm getting close to the Pokémon League. I'm getting stage fright. But yeah, there is one more significant thing I want to do between clearing Victory Road and taking on the Pokémon League. And I think it's going to be fairly good, all things considered. Our Pokemon are definitely under-leveled for it, but I think with our team composition, we should still do pretty good. Alright, managed to take out that Swellow very easily. Thank you, Alexa. Alright, Mawile. This thing is... yeah, just a Mawile. Nothing we need to worry about. It's kind of a shame that it's so hard for me to recommend Mawile in this generation, because I do really like its design. For those that don't know, Mawile is based on a type of yokai, which appears to be a woman with a mouth in the back of its head. Pokemon designs are so creepy, and I love it. Kadabra here? You didn't bother to fully evolve your Psychic Fox. What is wrong with you? But yeah, Kadabra's a very standard Psychic type. Very high speed and special attack, very low HP and defense. You take it out pretty easily. I couldn't do a thing. Exactly, Bub, that's your problem. It's a problem with a lot of trainers in this game that I'm slowly coming to realize. But hey, they're not meant to be like the big challenges of this game. The big challenges are just ahead of us, don't you worry. We're gonna actually get to fight some tough battles ahead. Especially in the post-game, because, oh boy, there's gonna be some interesting challenges that I'm not really sure I'm gonna actually be able to complete. Let's just say that there is a series of battles that are specific to the post-game that... how am I gonna put this? They're very difficult to reach, and even if you do reach them, they can be really tricky to actually defeat, depending on certain qualities among your team and also their team composition. So, it's very likely that I am not going to actually be able to show off the battles against those specific characters. But I think for a series, it is nice to just kind of go over, like, a bit of the stuff involving them. So I will go a bit into, what they are when I eventually get to that point, and, like, dedicate a stream session to at least trying to take out one of those specific facilities, because, yeah, it's definitely a lot of stuff to go over, and it is a very serious challenge that I don't know if I'm going to do with my current team setup. Spoilers, this is not a competitively viable team, as it has been made abundantly clear throughout this journey. I mean, they've been pulling through very nicely in the main story, but for competitive battles, this would not do at all. But whatever, it's my playthrough, and I want to use the Pokemon I want to use. Even if there's some of the rare ones, and also ones that really aren't all that good until later games. Looking at you, Cacturn, but it's okay. Also Pelipper, cause you don't get Drizzle in this game, and that's such a good move. I mean, ability on you. Blech. Seriously, I could have built my team using Pokemon that were started out good in this generation and only got better as time went on. But I thought it was actually nice getting to use some Pokemon that I feel are underappreciated and don't get to see a lot of action. I mean, how many times have you seen someone use Pelipper before it got Drizzle? Oh, hello there, Sableye! Yeah, you can also run into Sableye here, although that's only in, like, the deepest part of the cave, where we are now. Of course, this is Emerald only. If you're playing Ruby, Sapphire, and the remakes, Mawile and Sableye are exclusive to whatever version you're playing. But you can run into them both here if you're playing Emerald. You shouldn't get complacent just because you have a lot of gym badges. There's always going to be someone who's better than you. Sand Slash. I wouldn't expect a lot of ground moves from this thing, but I'm still going to switch Armstrong out. Alright, Harlequin should be good here. We get your health back with Giga Drain. And not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Alright, next up is Ninetales. Really wish I had my Pelipper right now. But Armstrong should be able to handle that. Ninetales is the evolution of Vulpix, a Pokemon that we could have seen back on Mount Pyre, but I didn't actually run into. At least I don't think so. Ninetales is an interesting fire type because it mainly emphasizes special defense instead of special attack. And along with that, it learns a lot of status moves by level up. Like you can get that Confuse Ray, obviously. It also can get Will-O-Wisp, which makes it a very interesting fire type compared to others, which mainly focus on damage instead of status. And if you know anything about the Pokemon lore, then you definitely know that Ninetales got some freaky stuff involving it. Because this Pokemon is able to live for over 1,000 years, and if someone touches its tails without its permission, it will put a curse on you that will last for 1,000 years. So yeah, this Pokemon is scary. Alright, got a nice level up on Armstrong there. And Tropius. Again, making me wish I had my Pelipper. It's alright, Jerk can handle this thing. So against you, let's go for Flamethrower. It's kind of a shame that Tropius hasn't really gained anything new as of late, cause it's a Pokemon I really like. I just wish it was a little bit better, and it's a shame it didn't get a new evolution or Mega Evolution in the more recent games. Because I definitely like to see it get used more. Yes, I will remember the trainers I faced. But only the ones that gave me the most significant battles. Looking at you, Brendan. So over here, that's why I wanted to recommend Surf. We'll explore a little bit more of that very soon, but just want to show off over here. It's an area that we couldn't reach before, but is still pretty significant. At least I hope so. Wait, buddy, I need you to go. And of course he got confused, right? I really hate wasting power points like this, but I don't want to deal with confusion here. Oh, there actually is an item here. Max Repel! I can recommend using that if you're low on power points going through here. Also, definitely take this ladder, because up here, get TM29 Psychic. You could buy these back in the game corner in Mauville City, but it's very nice being able to run into one here. Definitely one of the best moves in the game. It's very powerful with 90 base power and can lower special defense. Highly recommend picking this up. Of course, I already have it on Beetlejuice because I needed him to have something that could be very good. And just kind of fill up his moveset more, because Bainin really doesn't have the best moveset in this generation. Sad to say. It gets better. And I'm not just talking about the way its sprite looks. I heard there was a tough little kid around. Did they meet you? Well, I don't mean to brag, but I'm actually 27. Hoenn. Man, do you have a wife named Baru? Because if so, you two aren't gonna spend a lot of time together. Just saying. This Kecleon should go down. There we go. And Graveler. Another instance where I want my Pelipper, but Harlequin can take this thing out too. Also, really, you're not gonna fully evolve your Pokemon? This is the final area, dude. Just need Alarm you and be done with it. Next is Wailord. Let's forget I've actually run into this. Wailord is the final form of Wailmer, and it is, as of this generation, Gen 3 specifically, the largest Pokemon in the series. As I would expect for something this big, it has a massive HP, but really not much else in that department, so I can recommend it sometimes, but oh, so I'm in Petalburg City, so it's talking about Wally. Okay, let's cross this bridge. We get a double battle here. The elite among the elite gather in this cave. How are you finding it? Pretty well, all things considered. I've come this far, but the tension's giving me awful stomach pain. Another thing I would like to say about Wailord is that it will be significant to something much later on in our adventure. I'll just say it. Alright, so here we got an interesting setup. So really don't have a safe switch in for anyone, so I guess we'll just go on the offense. Flame Force should be pretty good against Medicham here. Yeah, there we go. And then Harlequin can do some good damage to Claydol. Really? You have 2 Claydol? Well, this is awkward. Claydol swapped abilities with its opponent. I don't even know who you swapped with. Let's use Slash on this Claydol, and then we'll Feint Attack that one. Of course you're using a Volrastor. Why wouldn't you? It's kind of how things are here. Alright, that one's almost done. And using Skill Swamp again. Think with Harlequin. Okay, you didn't heal that one. Good. And got an insignificant critical hit because a normal attack would have taken it out anyway. Yep. Alright, the Feint Attack should take out the other Claydol, and then we only got one Pokemon to deal with here. Alright, level up on Harlequin. Very good. Lantern. I actually forget if we've run into these things before, because it's been a while since our previous sessions. But Lantern is the evolution of Chinchou, which we saw underwater a couple streams ago. This thing is water electric, has a lot of HP, and overall decent stats. I can definitely recommend it purely for the fact that it is a water electric type, which is fairly unique in this generation. Could definitely recommend it. It's a very interesting type combo. Ooh, it hurts. I bet it does, bud. I can't help getting all tense knowing I'm nearing the Pokémon League. It's all I can do to feign calm. You do have guts. I like it. Keep it going. Yeah, what's nice about this floor is that it's kind of open. It's not just a linear path to the next exit, I want to say. So be able to get to the next gateway very soon. You must be getting a little tired. I mean, it's 8:11 p.m. my time, so I don't know. Carolyn. I don't know what to say about you. Man, I just keep looking over to my DVDs right now. Definitely want to pop in one of those movies after the stream. Depending on if one of my friends wants to go back to doing some Dynamax adventures, because those are always fun, and I would like to eventually try to get a shiny sometime soon. It'll happen. I just need persistence. Because I know one of my friends very recently today managed to get a shiny Kartana, and that's fairly good. Victory around the Pokémon League are long and grueling challenges. Beware of fatigue. Hello there, Sableye. Got these things crawling all over the place. Hard to believe there was a time I was actually considering these things for my team. But then I figured, hey, I haven't used Bayonet in a serious playthrough. He could be good. And he turned out to be very good. As you can see, there's a waterfall over there. I'm going to ignore it for the time being and go over this way. Yeah, I'm very certain on that little ledge over there. Examine there to get an elixir. If we look over here, this is the same path that we took previously. Yeah, this area kind of loops around, which is fairly interesting, and the next gateway to get to the next floor is fairly close by, depending on which of these routes you take. And actually, because of that, you may not actually need Waterfall to progress through this place. I mainly just wanted it just to show this off, and show the significance of actually bringing a Pokemon with Waterfall in this area, and that you might not actually need it. Go figure. I train together with my whole family, every one of us. I'm not losing to anyone. So remember earlier in our adventure when we fought a whole family of trainers who all started with the letter V? Cool Trainer Vito is the final member of the Windstrait family that we fought all that time ago. And this guy's got a decently serious team, all things considered. He's leading off with Dodrio, normal flying, very fast and very strong. But Alexa's even faster and even more strong, so she was able to take it out very easily. Next has got a Kadabra. I'm gonna let Alexa handle this one too. Of course, this guy is very fast, very powerful, but doesn't have a whole lot in terms of defenses, so pretty easy to take out. This next Pokemon will be Electrode. One of the fastest Pokemon you can get in the game and can do some serious damage with electric moves. But again, it doesn't have a whole lot in terms of defense. So hopefully Armstrong can take this thing out with an Earthquake. And could you not get paralyzed, please? I don't like this. Stop it. Oh, God. Armstrong, don't tell me you're going to lose to an Electrode just because you're paralyzed here. Good. And you even get a critical hit, too. Good work, Armstrong. Alright, that takes care of Vito's third Pokemon. And his final Pokemon is Shiftry. For this one, let's go to Jerk. Shiftry is grass dark and fairly strong all across the board. So definitely want to be prepared for this guy. It's a good thing it has a lot of weaknesses, though. Hear that? We took out Vito. Better than my family? Is that possible? I was better than everyone in my family. I've never lost before. I've lost my confidence. Maybe I'll go home. So yeah, that is the payoff to the Windstrait family questline. I wish it could have been a little more significant of a threat, but still a pretty good battle. He had quite a lot of Pokemon compared to some of the other trainers we faced here, so that's good. He gave us a decent challenge overall. And hey, was able to do that much damage to Armstrong. Good for you. Surf over here, go down this waterfall. And we can take that path, or we could go down this way. I'm trying to remember which one of these is the required path. Alright, using up our last Thunderbolt PowerPoint there. Still have Thunder, which is good. But if push comes to shove, we might want to use some of our Leppa berries. Because yeah, I've been saving those for just such an occasion. So over here we got this. I'm actually thinking either one of those stairs would have been good. We're going to see very closely. This isn't a goal, it's only a place on the way to the Pokémon League. I realized that, lady. It's got Michelle here with Torkoal. Haven't seen one of you in quite a while. And all the more for it, because this thing gave us so much trouble when we fought it back in Lava Ridge. Seriously, Torkoal can be such a beast if you're unprepared for it. And in later generations, it gets Drought, which makes it even more potent of a fighter. Overall, a Pokemon you should not underestimate just because it doesn't have an evolution. So you were able to survive a Thunder? From Alexa? Good on you. And of course they're using Full Restore, because why wouldn't you? Just want to get through here, okay? There we go. Finally took it out. And Alexa's getting a level up. Very nice. Next up is Medicham. Let's go to Beetlejuice for this one. Come on, buddy, let's clear this so that I can go watch your namesake movie. Very nice. And you got a Ludicolo. Hey, this lady has a lot of Pokemon. It's a little awkward for me. I don't really have a solid counter to this thing. Really goes to show you how good water and grass sync up as a type combination. But yeah, Beetle should be pretty good here. Really, buddy? Astonish? That's the best you can do? You can't spook what's already spooky. Healing up some of that damage with the Shell Bell. And there we go. That's the way. This is the way. That could have gone a different direction. Trust me. Yeah, don't worry about our Pelipper getting under level compared to everyone else. We are going to be doing some significant training before the next session. Let's try to get a double battle here, because those always fun. No need to get your back up. Relax. Let's take it easy. My Pokemon are cosmically awe-inspiring. See what you got. It's a cool trainer, Hallie and Mitchell. It's got Sableye and Lunatone. Alright, I haven't seen Lunatone for a while, so this will definitely be an interesting fight. Sableye, of course, we dealt with plenty here. Earthquake's not going to be good on any of this, especially because Lunatone is levitating, so yeah. None of that, we'll just go for the Iron Tail and hope it hits. And Absol, another thing that we've seldomly seen. Alright, Littertone's out, and guess what's going to be using next? Soul Rock, because of course. Luckily it's the same typing, so we don't have to change our strategy too much. And we'll double kick the Absol. Doesn't really have a whole lot in terms of defense, so we should be able to handle this very well. Yeah, that's good. We took it out with a single kick. That really shows how frail Absol is. I mean, if you just Mega Evolved it, this wouldn't happen. Whoa, wonderful! I've never met anyone like you before. Yeah, get dunked on. You outside of battle sense incredible power emanating from you and your Pokemon. Sure, this is Victory Road. It's not all that different from the path you've taken so far. Try to enjoy things the rest of the way. So you notice this ladder over here? This is what that ladder leads off to. It's an alternate path to help you avoid those trainers. Of course, I did them anyway because I want the experience, and also to show off as many of the trainer battles as I can in the game. Okay, Armstrong, use your last Earthquake to take out this Lairon. And we still got some battles ahead, so I'm probably going to use one of our Leppa Berries to restore those power points. Good work. So got another Rock Smash point here. Be very careful. Shoot down. Smash you. And we're back on the first floor. There's still a few battles we need to do. At least 2 required battles ahead. Okay, I'm just gonna ignore you. None of that. It's a good thing we have so many Leppa Berries here. Let's use that to replenish our Earthquakes. And let's go for this. I made it this far a couple times, but the last stretch is so long. Yeah, I enjoy a good long stretch every now and again. Pool trainer Edgar. Scott Cacturn, man after my own heart. You, let's go for an Iron Tail. This thing can do some significant damage because it does have good attack and special attack. But we're able to handle it very easily because it's on the frail side. Woo! And next he's got Pelipper. Man, you're making me so jealous. Oh yeah, we don't have any Thunderbolt PP. Luckily, Thunder should still be good, provided this thing doesn't use Protect again. Seriously, just wasting all of my power points here. Love the way the Pokemon's color changes when you use Thunder in this game. Sorry, I had to sneeze there. My dream ends here again. Sucks to be you, dude. Made it this far, keep the momentum going, become the champion. If anyone can, it's you. Okay, why... Zubat, just why? We got one more major battle here. You could fight these 2 individually, but of course I'm going for the double battle because they're more interesting. Let's just heal up Alexa because she could be useful in the fight ahead. And let's go for it.
I have nothing to say to anyone that's come this far. Come on!
What is the victory road? I'll tell you if you win. Caitlin and Quincy are our final regular trainers in the main story of Pokémon Emerald. They got Gardevoir and Slaking, two very formidable Pokemon. You'll definitely want to take these things out as quickly as you can. So let's go for... Yeah, Gardevoir has a lot of special defense, so let's use Iron Tail on you, and then Jerk can double kick the Slaking. Ugh, the Slaking is beefy. Of course it's taking these hits. Slaking using Thunderbolt of all things. Its special attack's not as good as its physical attacks. I'm surprised it did that. That you definitely want to watch out for. Gardevoir just swapped abilities with Slaking. Slaking normally gets Truant, which causes it to only attack every other turn. But thanks to Gardevoir, Slaking no longer has Truant, and it can attack as much as it wants. And Caitlin has a Slaking herself. Because why not? Alright, let's have Armstrong use Strength on this Slaking, and then Jerk will attack the fresh one with Double Kick. Let's see how this goes. Very well, all things considered. I mean, we are over-leveled. Alright, Jerk will level 49 from that as well. And that's fairly interesting. Jerk wants to learn Mirror Move. This will allow Jerk to use the last attack that the opponent used in battle. I don't really need it. And Dusclops here is the evolution of Duskull. This thing is a tank. It has a lot of defense and special defense, and one of the tankiest Pokemon you'll find in this game. Along with that, it gets a lot of support moves. This thing can be very useful under the right circumstances. Just being able to take loads of damage and just being able to impede the opponent with status moves. It's a very good Pokemon, especially if you're playing Gen 6, when it gets access to a very good item which makes it significantly more defensive, if you can imagine that. It's definitely a Pokemon I enjoy using, even if I'm not able to fully evolve it. It's that good. I will finish this guy off, and then... Of course you're using a full restore here. Should be able to handle this Dusclops, though. It's the last thing we need to worry about in this battle. Right, the Rock Tomb takes it out. There we go. This is a disgrace. Okay, well done. Getting through here safely, that's the final test for any trainer aiming to become the Pokemon champion. That's why it's called the Victory Road. Go right on ahead, see if I care. He's testy, aren't you? But yes, at long last, if we can get through this final battle... Really? Makuhita? We finally reached the end. So this journey has been a long one. Easily taken the most time out of any of the main Pokemon streams I have done to get through. And there's still a significant portion of this game left to play. But I'm just very thankful I've been able to get to this point. We have finally reached the Pokémon League. dive, get the fudge off my team. I just want to appreciate the Pokemon that carried us this far on this journey, because they've all earned their place on this team, and they all deserve to get here. It's been a long time coming. And just want to go through some things here, make sure everything we need going forward, and also just want to sell some things we don't need. Okay, where are Alright, there's the star pieces and nugget I wanted. Grab that and sell that, because we definitely want to spend money here. This shop is pretty much the best shop in the game if you're looking for healing items. Sell this nugget and these star pieces for some good profit. And then I'll show you here. This guy will sell you Ultra Balls, very good for catching things. He's got Hyper Potions, Max Potions, and Full Restores for sale. Definitely gonna pick up a lot of these. Probably don't need this many, but still be very good to stock up on these. So our journey through the whole of the Hoenn region is very close to coming to a close. Next time on Pokémon Emerald, we got some unfinished business back at the Sky Pillar. And then we're going to return to the Pokémon League in order to finally become the champion. Until next time, have a good night and take care.